Hey guys, it's Mo. It's the 6th and it is a Monday, and these are some of the stories that were a little too spicy to make it on to Newsy News, but I want to give our members something and then everyone will see them. But these are generally just stories that I don't feel like go with the aesthetic of Newsy News and trying to keep things positive. But we do have a spicy, fun-sized couple stories for you because holy fazoli's, the world has gone crazy. Our first story: what in all of God's unholy earth? Mom made son, 3 years old, say goodbye to daddy on camera before filling him with freedom seeds in a unaliving self-deletion a day before custody hearing. This is absolutely evil, disgusting, and wrong. Again, love your kid more than you hate your ex. There is no reason for this. Not one reason. A Texas mom told her 3-year-old son to quote unquote say goodbye to daddy on camera just moments before she unalived the boy in a ditch, then turned the weapon on herself. A day before she was due in court for a custody hearing with her ex husband, cops say. Savannah Krigler, madam, by the power vested in me for the uterus that was made 6 kids, I excommunicate you from the mom and woman category. You are now just a female and a gross one. You do not get any rights or privileges on Mother's Day, and no one should remember you. Savannah Krigler, 32, and her son Caden were found unalive with freedom seed wounds in their heads at San Antonio Park back on March 19th. But authorities have spent weeks piecing together their harrowing final hours as they probed the unaliving self-deletion. You know, it would be lovely if I could use the right words, because it sometimes feels a little comic-y when I have to say something like that in order to follow, YouTube's rules. It's just ridiculous. I wish they would stop. I wish that, we could use the same words that CNN and ABC and every other authoritative source gets to use, because it sounds a little comical when I have to, use a Creole. In the hours before, this tragedy, authorities determined Krigler shot at her old wedding photos, trashed her ex-husband's home, and taunted him with a slew of FaceTime videos and texts warning him, quote, we won't have anything by the end of the day, end quote. What an absolute hosebees. Ma'am, you are lower than the corroded trash water that has sat there for years and was behind a White Castle. You are dumpster White Castle water. Again, love your child more than you hate your ex. The grim ordeal started to unfold when Krigler left work on the afternoon of March 18th and headed straight to her ex's home while he was at work, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office said. After damaging her ex's furniture and some personal items, the mother then drove to her own home, where cops later found her wedding dress and portraits laid out in the bed. Quote, we believe that she fired 2 shots into her wedding portraits, Sheriff Javier Salazar said. Krigler subsequently picked up her son from daycare and then started inundating Caden's father with harrowing messages, authorities said. What a selfish cow move to make. I mean, and get it. I get it. Parenting, co-parenting, so very hard. But what you do, and I had to get my own head out of my own bum. I wasn't great at the beginning with co-parenting, but I love my daughter more than I wasn't good with her dad. And he's a good dad. So, you know what? We may do things a little different. We may have to touch base with each other more often to see if we're both on the same page. If we're not, we have to compromise. But you can turn it around. You can, apologize and say, sorry, I had my head up my own butt, which I have had to do. I have, a time or two not been the best co-parent. But you make it better. And I will honestly say that, it works. It works if you treat your ex with, human kindness and patience. And he does the same for you. Now, if your ex is a giant butt monkey, this will probably not be a good thing for you. But again, normal case, what a trash monkey. I just, oh, I can't. Quote, "You won't have anything to go home to now, you really don't," Krigler said on one FaceTime call. "You won't have anything at all by the end of the day." The final text to her ex read, "Say goodbye to your son." What a gross. May you rest in peace, you sweet little angel boy. It was never your fault. Your mom was, I don't, maybe it's Satan, but listen, you are in God's arms now, or whatever you believe in, the universe where people love you. And I am so sorry your mom was such a dingus. A 22-second video recovered from her phone showed Krigler and her son sitting in the ditch in the park where their bodies would later be found. In the clip, authorities say the mom, no, the incubator told the son to say goodbye to daddy before she apologized to the boy that his father wasn't there. Then she kissed him. Ma'am, you are one of the grossest people I've ever talked about, and I don't get it. Her phone's record shows she then looked up videos of children's cartoon on her cell while they were sitting in the ditch, according to authorities. So you let him watch, Coco Melon, you gross, disgusting, corroded dumpster trash water. Although the video did not capture the shootings, Krigler's intentions were pretty clear, the sheriff said. Their bodies were discovered some 19 hours later after an Amber Alert was issued and authorities scoured the area. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office quickly labeled the two deaths an unaliving and a self-deletion. Authorities at the time also revealed that the little boy was at the center of a custody battle. Krigler had filed for divorce and a temporary restraining order against her ex on March 7th, my essay reported. The former couple were due in court on March 19th, and that was the day the bodies were discovered for a custody hearing. Now, I do want to tell you guys, if you are struggling with self-deletion thoughts, ideations, then there is, there are numbers, there are places that you can call. I will try to put it up here because, as I say, YouTube is kind of a behind. So there's a hotline 24/7, no matter what. You can call, you can get help. Nothing, don't make a temporary problem a permanent solution. Please don't. Please don't involve your kids. This is just gross. And what in the actual hell is going on here? I mean, y'all, maybe we can get this, but apparently a man was going to unalive a pastor just in the middle of service because, why not? The world has, maybe it's Satan. I mean, for the love of all that is Cheetos. Gunman arrested after trying to unalive Pennsylvania pastor during a church sermon in a wild caught-on-camera moment. I might pull this up and make a separate video too with the actual footage in Chrome because Brave doesn't follow the sound. I have no idea why. But holy cheese whiz on crackers. What in the hell is going on here? Okay. I don't think that YouTube would like that whole stance and force multiplier picture. A gunman has been arrested for pulling a force multiplier on a Pennsylvania pastor mid-sermon in a terrifying caught-on-camera ordeal, with cops later finding one of his relatives unalive in his own home. Bernard Polite, 26, was nabbed after trying to unalive Pastor Glenn Germany at the Jesus' Dwelling Place Church on North Braddock on Sunday afternoon, cops said. A horrifying live stream of the ordeal showed Germany ducking for cover as the perp brandished a force multiplier in front of churchgoers, including the pastor's own 14-year-old daughter. You are just a jerk face. Corrodated trash water. I swear to goodness, we all need like final form Jesus. I have no idea. He pulled the force multiplier and it clicked, the pastor told WPXI. You heard him shoot it. God jammed the gun so the freedom seed did not come out. Well, Jesus is my, you know, ride or die if I'm in church and someone's trying to I'm praying like they say there's no atheists in foxholes. I'd be like, Lord, I've done you solid, sort of. Look, let me live. Roughly 25 parishioners were listening to German's sermon when the perpetrator suddenly started walking towards the front of the pew. He stood up and smiled at me, and it was just a smile, Germany said. He comes to right here, and then all of a sudden, that's when I see him pull the force multiplier, and all I could do is duck to try to get out of the way. The pastor's deacon, Clarence McAllister, was filmed leaping across and tackling Polite. He and the pastor wrestled the force multiplier from the suspect and pinned him down until police arrived. Quote, God had his hands on the pastor, McAllister said. He wasn't letting him go nowhere. Germany said the suspect later revealed to him in custody that he'd seen spirits in his mind telling him to just send freedom scenes downrange. He actually apologized to me, and I told him I forgive you and I want you to know I love you. But yes, I definitely forgave him. Oh my goodness. I would, y'all, I would have to change my pants. Let me be honest with you. 6 children does not a strong bladder make. This man is like, okay, thank you. Oh my goodness. In a separate interview with WTAE, the pastor recalled the perpetrator telling him, you ducked a taco today. That's what he told me. I guess that's slang for you ducked a bullet? Polite is facing a slew of charges, including aggravated assault and attempted homicide. Hours after arresting Polite, police made the grisly discovery of a body of a 56-year-old man that was unalive in the home where he lived less than half a mile from the church, Allegheny County Police said. It wasn't immediately clear when the victim, identified as Derek Polite, was unalived. The victim is a relative of Polite, a police person told NBC News without elaborating on the exact relationship. Local reports said the suspect in the church incident lived with his uncle. At this point, no charges have been filed in connection with the homicide, and it remains an active investigation. Police spokesperson Jim Madalinsky told NBC News. It's not immediately clear if Polite has legal representation. He's due back in court for a preliminary hearing on May the 13th. I picked this one to say, goodness, wouldn't it be nice if we could just feel safe in our places? I do know we go to a rural, okay, my husband goes to a rural church. I seem to always be tired and in pain on a Sunday, but I should definitely go, or at least watch it on Facebook. I don't do either. I'm terrible. Y'all, I told you I'm a bad Christian. Anyhoozle, the fact that even our rural communities have to have safety plans in case someone comes into our church that isn't, there for praise and worship. Although I have been tempted to say, can we stop the songs, please? For the love of God, I just need this to end. But joking aside, the fact that, our pastor had, even in this church before, or we went to before, has to tell everyone, yes, we have ideas in case someone with a force multiplier comes in. I'm so glad that this pastor wasn't hurt, and I'm hoping that the gunman gets some mental health, because it looks like there was some sort of break. I'm not a doctor, though, so goodness. Our last spicy news story. This, you know what? You are even... This disgusting person allegedly State worker tasked with caring for abused children accused of quote unquote aggressively grabbing and throwing an 11-year-old foster child. Sir, if you get convicted, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to excommunicate you, take you out of the caregiver and put you into the dingus maker, the dingleberry category. Because you and that one mom today, just you're rolling ones, you're rolling zeros for me. A 41-year-old man who worked with Florida's abused foster children who have yet to be assigned to live full-time with a family has been accused of, quote, aggressively grabbing and throwing an 11-year-old girl into a couch, according to police. Bruises in the form of his handprint remained on the girl's days later, cops allege. Cordell Ba Samuels faces a child, not a CA charge. Wildwood police responded in April 29th to the Department of Children and Families Kids Central Facility for a report of abuse. A probable cause arrest affidavit said. The girl told cops that on April 24th, Ba Samuels, her assigned case manager, allegedly grabbed her and threw her on the couch. The girl is a foster child on a night-to-night placement, the affidavit said. Cops noted while they were interviewing her, she had 2 bruises on her left arm, and a finger pattern indicative of being grabbed with a great deal of force, the affidavit said. Quote, it should be noted that these marks were still visible 5 days after the incident, detectives wrote. Police viewed the video of the incident, and it showed Ba Samuels standing in the doorway and the girl walk up to him in an apparent attempt to walk out of the room, according to the affidavit. Ba Samuels stopped her from doing so and told her to go to the couch. The victim became upset and attempted to crawl out of the door, at which time the defendant aggressively grabbed the victim, picked her up from under the armpits, lifted her over the couch, and threw her on the couch, cops wrote. The video showed the child then start hitting her head on the wall. Ba Samuels went up to the girl in an intimidating manner and appeared to yell at her, the affidavit said. The victim instantly balled up, lifted her arms, and tucked her face down, indicative of trying to shield herself in fear, cops wrote. A witness told the cops he yelled at the girl something along the lines of, "You're not going to pull that ish," according to the affidavit. Ba Samuels, in an interview with the detectives, claimed he guided, quote unquote, yeah, you know what, gentle. If this girl, let's say, I'm guessing she has a lot of trauma if she's in the foster care system. So she probably is, testing boundaries. She doesn't feel, control of anything. She's on a night-to-night basis. And look, I understand. It's a small hill to die on to let a child go outside. She doesn't have a stable family. Look, I can understand why this girl may be acting out. And if you were that, flirtated, you should have taken some steps away and said, hey, we're both going to go and redirect our behavior. Because again, kids with, a lot of trauma may just want to carve out their own control of their own body, their surroundings. Again, she is going from house to house. I am sure there's a terrible story that, required her to become a ward of the state. If you are fed up, if you are, burnt out, please get a different job. I understand that you see a lot of terrible crud as a social worker. It doesn't give you the right to lay hands. He did not know where the cameras, or he said he did not know there were video cameras in the room. Cops arrested him and took him to the Sumter County Detention Center, where he has since bonded out. His next court date is scheduled for June 17th. According to its website, Kids Central is a nonprofit agency that treats and prevents child abuse. It is always the ones that are there supposed to help that end up screwing everyone over. DCF contracts with the agency on Florida privatized child abuse treatment and prevention. Well, they obviously do a bang-up job. Yeah, keep paying them, gajillions of dollars in tax money. I'm sure that'll help. So now that I'm thoroughly ticked off with the entire world, I'm going to go do some steps on my stair stepper thingamabob. That thing, look, it looks silly, you feel silly, but it is a workout, well, especially if you're kind of out of shape. So, I will see you all later. This is the spicy, fun-sized Newsy News breakdown today, May the 6th, Monday, 2024. I'm trying to figure out an outro and it's Monday. See y'all tonight.